The unexpected encounter. In the vast expanse of the galaxy, where civilizations clashed and alliances shifted like the winds of time, there existed a small, unassuming human colony named Elysium. Nestled on the outer fringes of known space, it was a beacon of hope for the pioneers seeking a new beginning away from the crowded core worlds. The colonists, though limited in number, were rich in spirit and determination. They had carved out a life on this distant world, cultivating the land and building a community that thrived on unity and resilience. Elysium's peaceful existence was shattered one fateful day when an alien fleet appeared in the skies. These were the Jurans, an ancient and formidable race whose technological prowess and combat skills were renowned across the galaxy. The Jurans had long maintained a position of supremacy, their name alone evoking dread among those who knew of their conquests. When word reached their high command of a human colony at the edge of their territory, curiosity and a desire to reaffirm their dominance prompted them to investigate. The Juran fleet descended upon Elysium with an overwhelming show of force. Their ships, sleek and bristling with advanced weaponry, hovered ominously over the human settlement. At the forefront was their most revered warrior, General Crethar, a towering figure clad in an armor that shimmered with an eerie, otherworldly glow. Crethar's reputation as a ruthless and efficient leader preceded him, and his very presence struck fear into the hearts of those who had the misfortune of facing him. As the Juran ships landed and their troops began to deploy, the colonists could only watch in a mixture of awe and terror. Crethar stepped forward, his imposing form casting a long shadow over the assembly of humans who had gathered at the colony's center. His eyes, cold and calculating, scanned the crowd as if weighing their worth. He raised a hand, signaling his forces to halt, and then spoke in a voice that resonated with authority. "Humans of Elysium," Crethar began, his tone devoid of emotion, "you have encroached upon Juran territory. Your presence here is an affront to our sovereignty. Surrender now, and perhaps we will spare your lives." The colonists exchanged uneasy glances. Among them stood Dr. Elena Reyes, a scientist and one of the colony's leaders. Her heart pounded with fear, but she knew that capitulating to the Jurans would mean the end of everything they had built. Summoning her courage, she stepped forward to address the alien general. "We are peaceful settlers," Elena said, her voice steady despite the turmoil within. "We mean no harm and seek only to live in harmony on this world. Please, let us coexist." Crethar's expression remained unchanged, his gaze piercing through Elena as if she were insignificant. "Coexistence?" he echoed with a hint of disdain. "You are but insects before the might of the Jurans. Your plea is futile." With a swift motion, Crethar signaled his troops to advance. The Juran soldiers, armed with energy weapons and clad in impenetrable armor, began to move toward the colonists. Panic spread through the human ranks, but amidst the chaos, a spark of defiance ignited. The colonists were not soldiers, but they were determined to protect their home. The colony's security team, led by Captain Marcus Hale, sprang into action. Though their weapons were primitive compared to the Juran technology, they fought with a ferocity born of desperation. Marcus, a former military officer, barked orders and coordinated the defense, rallying the colonists to stand their ground. The battle that ensued was a clash of vastly different forces, highly trained alien warriors against determined human settlers. As the Jurans pressed their attack, it became evident that brute force alone would not guarantee victory. The colonists, leveraging their knowledge of the terrain and their resourcefulness, began to employ guerrilla tactics. They set traps, used the dense forest to their advantage, and launched ambushes that caught the Jurans off guard. Despite the overwhelming odds, the humans fought with tenacity and courage. General Crethar watched the unfolding battle with a mixture of frustration and grudging respect. He had underestimated these humans. Their spirit and resilience were unexpected, and it complicated his mission. Determined to crush their resistance, he decided to take matters into his own hands. Drawing his energy blade, he charged into the fray, cutting down anyone who dared to oppose him. Elena and Marcus, witnessing the devastation wrought by Crethar, knew they had to find a way to stop him. Gathering a small team of the bravest colonists, they devised a plan to isolate and confront the Excheran general. As night fell, they lured Crethar into a trap deep within the forest, where the dense foliage limited his movement and visibility. The confrontation that followed was fierce and brutal. Crethar's strength and skill were undeniable, but the humans fought with a desperation that matched his ferocity. In the end, it was a combination of their unity, cunning, and sheer willpower that brought the mighty Excheran general to his knees. With Crethar defeated, the Excheran forces, disheartened and leaderless, began to retreat. The victory was not without cost. Many lives were lost, and the colony was left in ruins. But the humans of Elysium had proven something invaluable, that their spirit was unbreakable, and their resolve to protect their home was unmatched. As the remaining Excherans fled, tales of the human colony's defiance began to spread throughout the galaxy, a testament to the indomitable will of humanity. The aftermath and new beginnings. As dawn broke over Elysium, the human colony bore the scars of the fierce battle that had unfolded. Smoke still rose from the charred remains of buildings, and the ground was littered with debris and the remnants of both human and veteran technology. The once vibrant settlement was now a scene of devastation, but amidst the ruins, there was a sense of quiet triumph. The colonists had faced a seemingly invincible foe and emerged victorious, albeit at great cost. Dr. Elena Reyes and Captain Marcus Hale stood at the heart of the colony, surveying the damage. Their faces were etched with fatigue and sorrow, but also with a glimmer of hope. They had survived, and now they had to rebuild. Elena, Marcus began, his voice heavy with exhaustion, "We did it. We beat them. But at what cost?" Elena nodded, her eyes scanning the faces of the survivors who were gathering around. "We lost many good people, Marcus, but we have to honor their sacrifice by rebuilding and ensuring that Elysium thrives. We can't let their deaths be in vain." The colonists, though wary, shared a collective sense of determination. They began the arduous task of clearing the debris and salvaging what they could. Makeshift memorials were erected for those who had fallen, and the community came together to support one another in their grief. Amidst the rebuilding efforts, a group of colonists discovered a disabled Excheran communication device among the wreckage. Realizing its potential value, Elena and Marcus examined the device, hoping to glean information about the Excherans and their plans. "Elena, if we can figure out how this thing works, we might be able to learn more about the Excherans and prevent future attacks," Marcus said, a spark of determination in his eyes. Elena agreed. "We need to understand our enemy if we're going to survive in this galaxy. Let's get this to the tech team and see what they can make of it." As the days passed, the tech team, led by a brilliant engineer named Dr. Nodia Potol, worked tirelessly to decode the Excheran device. It was a challenging task, but their persistence paid off. They managed to access the device's data and uncover valuable information about the Excheran fleet's movements and communications. "This is incredible," Nadia exclaimed, her eyes wide with excitement. "We have access to their encrypted channels. We can monitor their communications and anticipate their actions." Elena and Marcus shared a look of relief and determination. With this newfound knowledge, they could fortify their defenses and prepare for any future threats. The colonists began to implement new security measures, constructing stronger barriers and developing advanced surveillance systems using the salvaged Excheran technology. Word of Elysium's resilience and ingenuity spread to other human colonies and settlements throughout the galaxy. Inspired by their example, these communities began to forge alliances, sharing resources and knowledge to strengthen their collective defense against the Excheran threat. One such ally was the colony of Nova Terra, a larger and more established settlement with significant technological advancements. Hearing of Elysium's struggle and triumph, Nova Terra's leaders reached out to offer their support. The delegation from Nova Terra, led by Governor Amelia Clark, arrived on Elysium to establish formal ties and discuss mutual defense strategies. The meeting was a significant moment for both colonies, symbolizing the strength that could be found in unity. Governor Clark, Elena greeted, extending a hand. "Welcome to Elysium. We are honored by your support." Governor Clark smiled warmly as she shook Elena's hand. "Dr. Reyes, Captain Hale, your colony's bravery has inspired us all. Together, we can stand against any threat that comes our way." The alliance between Elysium and Nova Terra marked the beginning of a new chapter for the human colonies. They exchanged technologies, shared tactical knowledge, and coordinated their efforts to ensure the safety and prosperity of their people. The sense of camaraderie and shared purpose fueled their determination to thrive in a galaxy fraught with danger. As the colonies worked together to fortify their defenses, they also began to explore new frontiers. Scouts and explorers ventured into uncharted territories, seeking out resources and potential allies among the stars. The spirit of discovery and curiosity, which had always been a hallmark of humanity, drove them to push the boundaries of their knowledge and capabilities. Back on Elysium, the colonists continued to rebuild their homes and lives. The scars of the battle remained, but so did the lessons they had learned. They had faced a formidable enemy and emerged stronger for it. The memory of their fallen friends and loved ones served as a constant reminder of the importance of their mission. One evening, as the sun set over the horizon, Elena and Marcus stood on a hill overlooking the colony. The lights of Elysium flickered in the gathering dusk, a testament to the resilience and determination of its people. "We've come a long way, Marcus," Elena said softly, "but we have so much more to do. We can't afford to become complacent." Marcus nodded in agreement. "You're right, but we have something powerful on our side, our unity and our spirit. As long as we have that, we can face whatever comes our way." Elena smiled, feeling a renewed sense of hope. "We'll keep moving forward, one step at a time, for Elysium and for all those who believe in a better future." And so the story of Elysium continued, a beacon of hope and resilience in a galaxy filled with challenges and opportunities. The colonists knew that their journey was far from over, but they faced the future with courage and determination, ready to forge their path among the stars. The hidden threat. As Elysium and Nova Terra strengthened their alliance, the human colonies across the galaxy felt a renewed sense of hope and unity. However, the threat of the Exarans still loomed large. The intercepted communications from the disabled Exaran device had provided valuable insights, but they also hinted at a larger, more sinister plan. The Exarans were not merely raiders. They were part of a vast empire with ambitions of galactic domination. One morning, Dr. Nodia Patel, the lead engineer on Elysium, summoned Elena and Marcus to her lab. Her face was pale, and her eyes were filled with urgency. "Elena, Marcus, we've decrypted another segment of the Exaran communications. You need to see this," Nadia said, her voice trembling slightly. Elena and Marcus exchanged a worried glance before stepping into the lab. On the screen, a series of Exaran messages flashed in their alien script. Nadia quickly translated the key points for them. "It appears that Exarans are planning a massive invasion," Nadia explained. "Their forces are rallying at a central point, and from there, they intend to launch coordinated attacks on multiple human colonies simultaneously." Marcus clenched his fists. "How long do we have?" "Not long," Nadia replied. "Maybe a few weeks at most. We need to warn the other colonies and prepare our defenses." Elena nodded, her mind racing. "We have to call an emergency summit with our allies. We need a united front if we're going to stand a chance against this." Within hours, messages were sent out to all the human colonies and settlements that had allied with Elysium and Nova Terra. Representatives from each colony converged on Elysium for the summit, determined to devise a strategy to counter the impending Exaran invasion. The summit was held in Elysium's central hall, a large structure hastily repaired after the recent battle. Leaders and representatives filled the room, their faces a mix of determination and concern. Elena and Marcus stood at the front, addressing the assembly. "Thank you all for coming on such short notice," Elena began. "We face a grave threat. The Exarans are planning a large-scale invasion, targeting multiple colonies. We must work together to defend our homes and ensure our survival." Governor Amelia Clark of Novaterra stepped forward. "We faced the Exarans before and emerged victorious. We can do it again, but only if we stand united. We propose forming a joint defense force, pooling our resources and coordinating our efforts." The proposal was met with unanimous approval. Plans were quickly set in motion to mobilize the joint defense force. Engineers and scientists from the various colonies collaborated to develop new weapons and defenses, while military leaders devised strategies to counter the Exaran invasion. Back on Elysium, the colonists worked tirelessly, fortifying their settlement and training for the battle ahead. The sense of unity and purpose was palpable, as everyone understood the stakes. Among the preparations, a young scout named Leah discovered an abandoned Exaran outpost hidden in the dense forests beyond the colony's borders. She immediately reported her findings to Elena and Marcus. This outpost could be key to understanding their plans and finding weaknesses in their strategy, Lee explained. Elena and Marcus decided to investigate the outpost with a small team. As they approached the hidden structure, they moved cautiously, aware that it could be a trap. The outpost was eerily silent, its alien architecture a stark contrast to the natural beauty of the forest. Inside, they found a trove of Exaran technology and data. Nodia, who had accompanied them, quickly got to work accessing the information. Hours passed as she sifted through the data, her face illuminated by the soft glow of her portable computer. "Got it," Nadia finally said, looking up with a mix of triumph and concern. This outpost was a relay station. It's part of a network that Exarans use to coordinate their attacks. If we can disable these stations, we can disrupt their communications and slow their advance. The discovery was a significant breakthrough. Armed with this new information, the Joint Defense Force formulated a plan to locate and disable the Exaran relay stations. Teams of scouts and soldiers were dispatched to track down and sabotage these critical points. As the weeks passed, the tension grew. The human colonies braced for the impending invasion, their defenses bolstered by the knowledge and technology they had acquired. The unity and resilience of the human spirit shone brightly, even in the face of overwhelming odds. Finally, the day of reckoning arrived. The sky above Elysium darkened as the Exaran fleet descended, their ships casting ominous shadows over the colony. The ground trembled as the first waves of Exaran soldiers landed, their alien forms bristling with weaponry. But the humans were ready. The Joint Defense Force sprang into action, their coordination and preparation evident as they engaged the Exaran invaders. The battle that ensued was fierce and unrelenting, a clash of civilizations with the fate of humanity hanging in the balance. Elena and Marcus fought side by side, leading their people with unwavering determination. They knew that the outcome of this battle would determine the future of not just Elysium, but of all human colonies. As the battle raged on, the humans utilized their newfound knowledge to exploit the weaknesses in the Exaran forces. Traps were sprung, ambushes executed, and the Exarans found themselves facing a well-coordinated and highly motivated enemy. In the midst of the chaos, Lee and her team successfully sabotaged one of the key relay stations, disrupting the Exaran communications. The invaders' coordination faltered, giving the human defenders a crucial advantage. With each passing moment, the tide of the battle began to turn. The humans, driven by their indomitable spirit and the memory of those who had fallen, fought with unmatched ferocity. The Exarans, despite their advanced technology and superior numbers, found themselves being pushed back. As the sun began to set, the sounds of battle gradually faded. The Exaran forces, realizing their defeat, retreated, their ships vanishing into the darkening sky. The human colonies had prevailed once again, their unity and resilience shining as a beacon of hope in the galaxy. Exhausted but victorious, Elena, Marcus, and the rest of the colonists gathered to celebrate their hard-fought victory. They knew that the threat of the Exurans was far from over, but they had proven that together they could overcome any challenge. Elena stood before the assembled crowd, her voice filled with pride and determination. "We have faced the darkness and emerged victorious. This battle is just one of many, but it has shown us what we are capable of. We will continue to stand united, to fight for our future, and to ensure that the human spirit shines brightly among the stars." The colonists cheered, their hearts filled with hope and resolve. They knew that their journey was far from over, but they faced the future with courage, ready to forge their destiny in the vast expanse of the galaxy. The unexpected ally. The victory over the Exurans was celebrated across the human colonies, but the sense of impending danger never fully dissipated. The Exurans were a formidable foe, and their defeat was only a temporary reprieve. Elena and Marcus and their allies knew they had to prepare for the next wave of conflict. One evening, as the leaders gathered to discuss their next steps, a mysterious transmission was received on Elysium's communication channels. The signal was unlike anything they had encountered before, filled with complex patterns and encrypted data. Dr. Nadia Patel worked tirelessly to decode it, her curiosity piqued by the unfamiliar origin of the message. After hours of decryption, Nadia finally managed to unlock the transmission. What she found astonished her. It was a message from an unknown alien race, calling themselves the Terrans. The Terrans had been observing the human colonies for some time and had been impressed by their resilience and ingenuity. They offered an alliance, promising to share their advanced technology and knowledge to help the humans fend off the Terran threat. Elena and Marcus convened an emergency meeting to discuss the message. The room buzzed with a mix of excitement and skepticism. "Do you think we can trust them?" asked Governor Amelia Clark, her eyes filled with concern. "We don't have much choice," Marcus replied. "If the Terrans are sincere, their help could be invaluable, but we need to proceed cautiously." Elena nodded in agreement. "We'll arrange a meeting with the Terrans. We'll assess their intentions and decide our next steps." A secure communication channel was established, and soon a holographic image of the Terran envoy appeared before the assembled leaders. The Terran was tall and slender, with luminescent skin that seemed to shift colors in the light. Its eyes were large and expressive, radiating intelligence and empathy. "Greetings, humans of Elysium and Nova Terra," the Terran envoy began. "I am Elandra, representative of the Terran Confederation. We have watched your struggle against the Exurans and have been moved by your bravery and determination. We wish to offer our assistance in your fight." Elena stepped forward, her expression resolute but curious. "Thank you, Elandra. We appreciate your offer, but we must know more about you and your intentions. Why do you want to help us?" Elandra's eyes softened. "We too have faced the tyranny of the Exurans. They have destroyed many of our worlds, and we have seen countless lives lost to their relentless aggression. We see in you a kindred spirit, a spark of hope that we believe can turn the tide against the Exuran Empire. By helping you, we also help ourselves and others who suffer under Exuran oppression." The sincerity in Elandra's voice was palpable. After further discussions and assurances from both sides, the human colonies agreed to the alliance. The Terrans shared their advanced technology, including powerful energy shields, advanced medical supplies, and sophisticated weaponry. The collaboration between humans and Terrans was a marvel to behold. Scientists and engineers from both races worked side by side, blending their knowledge to create formidable defenses and innovative strategies. The Terrans' understanding of Exuran tactics proved invaluable, allowing the human colonies to anticipate and counter potential attacks. In the midst of these preparations, Marcus and Leah led an expedition to a nearby asteroid belt where a Terran reconnaissance team had detected a hidden Exuran base. The mission was dangerous, but they knew it was crucial to strike at the Exurans before they could regroup and launch another assault. As the team approached the asteroid belt, they navigated their ship through the treacherous field of rocks and debris. The Excheran base was well camouflaged, its dark exterior blending seamlessly with the surrounding asteroids. Marcus and Leah, along with a group of elite soldiers, prepared to infiltrate the base. Using stealth technology provided by the Terrans, the team managed to slip past the Excheran defenses and enter the base. Inside, they encountered fierce resistance. The Excherans fought with the same ferocity and determination that had made them such a formidable enemy. But the humans and their Terran allies fought back with equal vigor. During the intense battle, Marcus and Leah made their way to the base's command center. They planted explosive charges, intending to cripple the Excheran operations and gather intelligence on their future plans. As they were about to leave, they discovered a prisoner, a Terran scientist who had been captured and forced to work for the Excherans. "We can't leave him here," Leah said urgently. "He might have valuable information." Marcus agreed. They freed the scientist and made a hasty retreat, narrowly escaping the explosion that tore through the Excheran base. As their ship sped away, they watched the destruction from a safe distance, knowing they had dealt a significant blow to their enemy. Back on Elysium, the rescued Terran scientist, named Erin, provided crucial insights into the Excheran Empire's inner workings. His knowledge, combined with the intelligence gathered from the base, allowed the Human-Terran alliance to develop even more effective strategies for the ongoing conflict. As the days turned into weeks, the alliance grew stronger. The combined forces of humans and Terrans stood ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Elena, Marcus, and their allies knew that the war with the Excherans was far from over, but they faced the future with renewed hope and determination. The unexpected alliance with the Terrans had changed the course of their struggle, proving that even in the darkest times, hope could be found in the most unlikely of places. Together, they would continue to fight, united by a shared purpose and an unbreakable spirit. The Excheran counterattack. With the Excheran base in the asteroid belt destroyed, the Human-Terran alliance had a momentary advantage. But the Excherans were not a race to be easily defeated. They quickly regrouped, and soon intelligence reports indicated that a massive Excheran fleet was amassing on the outskirts of the Helix Nebula, preparing for a counterattack that could decimate the human and Terran forces. Elena, Marcus, and their allies held a high-level strategy meeting to prepare for the impending assault. The room was filled with a tense buzz of discussions, holographic maps displaying the movement of enemy fleets and the exchange of ideas on how best to defend their colonies. "We can't afford to let them reach our colonies," Marcus stated, his voice firm. "If they break through, it will be a massacre." Elandra nodded, her luminous skin reflecting the gravity of the situation. "We need to intercept them in space, away from the populated areas. We must use the element of surprise to our advantage." Governor Clark spoke up, her tone resolute. "We should set up a defensive perimeter in the Helix Nebula. The unique properties of the nebula will provide cover and make it harder for the Excherans to detect our movements." Dr. Nadia Patel added, "We can deploy our new energy shields and advanced weaponry at key points within the nebula. This will give us a strategic advantage and allow us to launch coordinated strikes." The plan was set into motion with precision and urgency. The combined Human-Terran fleet moved into position within the Helix Nebula, using the dense gas clouds to conceal their ships. As the Excheran fleet approached, they remained undetected, ready to spring their trap. As the first Excheran ships entered the nebula, the Allied fleet launched a surprise attack. Energy blasts and missile fire lit up the dark expanse of space, catching the Excherans off guard. The initial wave of Excheran ships was decimated, their advanced technology no match for the combined might and strategic planning of the Human-Terran alliance. However, the Excherans quickly adapted. Their ships regrouped, and they began a counteroffensive. The battle raged on, both sides exchanging heavy fire. The nebula became a chaotic battlefield, filled with the explosions of destroyed ships and the bright flashes of energy weapons. Amidst the chaos, Marcus and Leah led a squadron of fighters, weaving through enemy lines and targeting key Exaran vessels. Their piloting skills and coordination were unmatched, taking out several Exaran command ships and disrupting their formations. Meanwhile, Elena and Elandra commanded the flagship, coordinating the fleet's movements and directing their forces with precision. The Alliance's superior strategy and advanced technology, combined with the Terrans' intimate knowledge of Exaran tactics, gave them the upper hand. Despite their efforts, the Exarans fought with relentless ferocity. Their larger ships, heavily armored and armed with devastating weapons, pushed deeper into the nebula. The Allied fleet was strained, their ships taking heavy damage and casualties mounting. As the battle reached a critical point, Dr. Nodia Patel and Erin, the rescued Terran scientist, revealed a bold plan. They had discovered a weakness in the Exaran flagship's energy core, a vulnerability that could be exploited to turn the tide of the battle. "We need to get a strike team on board the Exaran flagship," Nadia explained urgently. "If we can overload their core, it will create a chain reaction that could destroy their entire fleet." Elena agreed to the risky plan. "Marcus, Leah, you're our best pilots. I need you to lead this mission." Marcus and Leah, without hesitation, prepared for the daring assault. Along with a team of elite soldiers, they boarded a stealth ship and navigated through the intense battle, avoiding enemy fire and weaving through the debris of destroyed ships. As they approached the Exaran flagship, the stealth technology cloaked their ship, allowing them to dock unnoticed. They quickly infiltrated the ship, moving through the corridors with purpose and determination. The Exaran defenses were formidable, but the team fought their way to the core, using their advanced weaponry and combat skills. Once at the core, Nodia's instructions guided them in setting the charges. The team worked with precision, knowing that failure was not an option. With the charges in place, they made a hasty retreat, fighting their way back to their ship. As they escaped the Exaran flagship, the charges detonated. A massive explosion rocked the flagship, and a blinding light engulfed the ship as the energy core overloaded. The explosion triggered a chain reaction, and one by one, the Exaran ships were caught in the blast, their fleet disintegrating in a spectacular display of light and fire. The Allied fleet watched in awe and relief as the Exaran fleet was decimated. The battle was won, and the immediate threat was neutralized. Cheers erupted across the human and Terran ships, their combined efforts having achieved a decisive victory. Back on Elysium, the heroes were celebrated. The Alliance had not only defended their colonies, but had struck a significant blow against the Exaran Empire. Elena, Marcus, Leah, and their allies knew that the war was far from over, but they faced the future with renewed hope and strengthened by their unity. The unexpected alliance with the Terrans had proven invaluable, showing that cooperation and trust could achieve what seemed impossible. Together, they would continue to fight, their spirits unbroken and their resolve unwavering. The search for the Exaran homeworld, the victory in the Helix Nebula, provided a much-needed respite for the human-Terran alliance, but they knew the war was far from over. The destruction of the Exaran fleet was a significant blow, but the core of the Exaran Empire remained untouched. To truly secure peace, they needed to strike at the heart of their enemy, the Exaran homeworld. Elena, Marcus, and Elandra gathered in the strategy room, joined by Governor Clark, Dr. Nodia Patel, and other key leaders. A holographic map of the galaxy hovered before them, with the location of the Exaran homeworld marked by a question mark. "We need to find their homeworld and launch a decisive strike," Elena said, her voice filled with determination. "But the Exarans have hidden it well. We need more information." Elandra nodded. "We have some leads from intercepted Exaran communications, but we need someone who can decipher their codes and pinpoint the exact location." Arin, the rescued Terran scientist, stepped forward. "I might be able to help. During my time as a prisoner, I overheard the Exarans discussing their homeworld's location. I believe I can piece together enough information to find it. With Aaron's help, the Alliance began the painstaking process of analyzing Sharan communications and piecing together the clues. It was a race against time, as the Exharans were undoubtedly regrouping and preparing for another attack. Days turned into weeks as the team worked tirelessly. Finally, Aaron made a breakthrough. "I've got it," he announced. "The Exharan homeworld is located in a remote sector, hidden within a cluster of black holes and spatial anomalies. It's a perfect hiding place, but it also makes it incredibly difficult to reach." Governor Clark looked at the holographic map, the location now marked. "This won't be easy. We'll need to navigate through dangerous territory and face whatever defenses they have in place." Elena stood tall. "We don't have a choice. If we don't strike now, they'll come back stronger. We need to end this war." The Alliance fleet was assembled for the most dangerous mission yet. The best pilots and soldiers were chosen, and the most advanced ships were prepared for the journey. Marcus and Leah, with their unparalleled piloting skills, were once again at the forefront of the mission. As the fleet set out, the tension was palpable. The journey through the cluster of black holes and spatial anomalies was fraught with peril. Ships had to navigate carefully to avoid being pulled into the gravitational wells, and the spatial anomalies caused unpredictable disruptions. Despite the challenges, the fleet pressed on, their determination unwavering. Finally, they emerged from the dangerous territory and saw the Exharan homeworld for the first time. It was a massive planet, heavily fortified with defensive structures and surrounded by a fleet of warships. Elena addressed the fleet. "This is it. We're here to end this war. Stay focused, and remember what we're fighting for. Humanity and the Terrans are counting on us." The battle for the Exharan homeworld began with a coordinated strike. The Allied fleet engaged the Exharan warships in a fierce space battle, while strike teams prepared to infiltrate the planet's defenses. Marcus and Leah led the fighter squadrons, their ships darting through the chaos and taking out key enemy targets. On the ground, Elena and Elandra led the assault. They fought their way through the Exharan defenses, their forces pushing towards a central command center. The Exharans, caught off guard by the ferocity and coordination of the attack, struggled to mount an effective defense. Inside the command center, the final confrontation awaited. Elena, Elandra, and their team breached the facility, fighting through waves of Exharan soldiers. At the heart of the command center, they encountered the Exharan Supreme Commander, a towering figure with a presence that exuded power and authority. "You dare invade our homeworld," the Supreme Commander bellowed. "You will pay for your insolence." Elena stepped forward, her resolve unshaken. "We're here to end this war. Surrender now, and your people will be spared." The Supreme Commander laughed, a harsh, guttural sound. "Surrender? Never. We are the Jurans. We will fight to the last." The final battle was intense. Elena and her team fought with everything they had, their determination and courage pushing them beyond their limits. The Supreme Commander proved to be a formidable opponent, his strength and combat skills unmatched. But in the end, the combined efforts of Elena, Elandra, and their team prevailed. The Supreme Commander fell, and with his defeat, the Exharan defenses crumbled. The remaining Exharan forces, seeing their leader defeated, surrendered. The war was over. The news of the victory spread quickly. The galaxy celebrated as the Human-Terran Alliance brought peace and stability to the regions once terrorized by the Exharans. Elena, Marcus, Leah, Elandra, and all the heroes of the Alliance were hailed as champions of freedom and unity. Back on Elysium, a grand celebration was held. The sacrifices and bravery of all who fought were honored, and the bond between humans and Terrans was stronger than ever. The war had forged an unbreakable alliance, one that would stand as a beacon of hope for the future. As Elena looked out at the stars, she felt a deep sense of fulfillment. They had faced impossible odds and emerged victorious. The strength of the human spirit, combined with the unity of allies, had triumphed over tyranny. We did it, Marcus said, standing beside her. Elena nodded. Yes, we did. And together, we'll build a future where all can live in peace. The galaxy, once torn by conflict, now had a chance at a new beginning. The story of the Human-Terran Alliance, their courage, and their determination would be told for generations to come, inspiring others to stand against oppression and fight for a better tomorrow. The new dawn. With the war against the Exurans finally over, the galaxy stood on the brink of a new era. Peace was no longer a distant dream, but a tangible reality. Yet, the end of the conflict marked the beginning of a new set of challenges, rebuilding, healing, and forging a lasting alliance. Elena, now a celebrated hero, took on the mantle of ambassador for the Human-Terran Alliance. Her first task was to address the Galactic Council, a body formed from representatives of all major civilizations, to ensure that the hard-won peace would endure. As she stood before the council, a diverse assembly of beings from across the galaxy, Elena felt a surge of pride and responsibility. "We have faced the darkness together," she began, her voice resonating with conviction. "And together, we have emerged victorious. But our journey does not end here. We must now work to rebuild what was lost and create a future where peace and cooperation prevail." Her words were met with unanimous approval. The Council agreed to establish a series of initiatives aimed at rebuilding war-torn planets, providing aid to displaced populations, and promoting interstellar trade and cultural exchange. A new era of prosperity seemed within reach. Meanwhile, back on Elysium, the capital of the Alliance, Marcus and Leah were busy with their own post-war endeavors. They had been appointed as leaders of the newly formed Galactic Defense Force, tasked with ensuring the security of the galaxy against any future threats. Their first order of business was to decommission the old war machines and repurpose them for peaceful applications. Marcus oversaw the conversion of military factories into centers for advanced technological development, focusing on infrastructure, healthcare, and education. Leah, ever the strategist, organized a series of training programs for the Defense Force, emphasizing peacekeeping and humanitarian missions. "We must be prepared to defend our peace," she said during a training session. "But more importantly, we must be prepared to maintain it." Elandra, who had played a crucial role in the alliance, returned to Terran to help her people integrate with the new order. She worked tirelessly to heal the wounds of war, both physical and emotional, ensuring that the Terrans could find their place in this new era of unity. As the months passed, the fruits of their labor began to show. Planets that had been devastated by the conflict started to flourish again. Communities rebuilt, and the scars of war slowly healed. Trade routes reopened and cultures mingled, creating a vibrant and diverse galactic community. One of the most significant milestones was the establishment of the Galactic Academy, an institution dedicated to fostering understanding and cooperation among the youth of the galaxy. Elena, Marcus, Leah, and Elandra all took part in its inauguration, addressing the first class of students. "You are the future," Elena told them. "You have the power to shape the destiny of the galaxy. Learn from our past, but do not be bound by it. Forge new paths, create new stories, and always remember that unity is our greatest strength." The Academy quickly became a beacon of hope and innovation, attracting students from every corner of the galaxy. Young minds, inspired by the tales of bravery and cooperation, worked together to solve problems and push the boundaries of what was possible. Amidst all the progress, Elena found time to visit her old home on Earth. Standing on the shores where she once dreamed of exploring the stars, she felt a deep sense of fulfillment. Her journey had taken her farther than she ever imagined, and yet it had brought her back to where it all began. Marcus joined her, a look of contentment on his face. "We've come a long way," he said, gazing at the horizon. Elena nodded. "And there's still so much to do. But for now, we can take a moment to appreciate what we've achieved." As they stood there side by side, they knew that the story of humanity and its allies was far from over. New challenges would arise, new adventures would unfold, and new heroes would emerge. but the spirit of unity, courage, and determination that had carried them through the darkest times would continue to light their way. The galaxy, once torn by conflict, was now a beacon of hope and possibility. The Alliance had not only secured peace, but had also laid the foundation for a future where all beings could thrive together. And so, the legend of the Human-Terran Alliance lived on, inspiring generations to come. In the hearts and minds of all who had fought, sacrificed, and dreamed, the message was clear: united, they were unstoppable. The dawn of a new era had begun, and with it, the promise of endless possibilities.